Hello, this is Pixie doing another video. Which I haven't done for a while. I guess I'd put off because I'd find some of my videos just get removed by YouTube and say it's because it says this or that. And it was really difficult because the thing is, I mean, they probably have got a guide for it, but you can't talk about anything in any particular detail because you need to be some sort of an expert and provide the evidence as the way it looks like, or some sort of qualification in something, I don't know, whatever their framework is. Because it could be you're a student in something, but you're not necessarily hold some sort of degree in it. Anyway, I sort of digress a little bit. So, I did come across some stuff to do with creatine. So I've started taking a creatine supplement this week. And I'll probably be looking at more supplements. It's not that I think they're sort of better than not taking food, but I think as you get to a certain age, so I'm above 40, that creeping on towards 50, that absorption of things can be a bit more difficult. And there's another factor as well I wasn't really thinking about or aware of. And that is time related. So some vitamins work better at night, and some work better in the day because some of them are like stimulants, like vitamin C, certain B vitamins. They just raise your metabolism, so taking them will affect other processes in your body, and you just have a poorer level of sleep if you take it more later in the day. While other ones are quite beneficial. Especially a bit tired, especially if you're feeling tired or sleepless. It was sleepless night. Things like certain types of magnesium, not all of them, because some of them are not. They don't necessarily work so well with the gut of an empty stomach. So like magnesium citrate is a little bit harsher, but it's something easy to absorb. Basically, the easier it is to absorb, the less stress it is for the guts, and you don't really be doing too much with your bowels in the middle of the night. And also the thing is, your bowels you might eat something, it might be just sat in your bowels for a while. It might go offline. So I might look at things like there's a metabolism sort of chart for things that the Chinese used to have, or they still do, to be honest. A bit like, like your kidneys at sort of 4 a.m. I seem to be doing some regeneration stuff. Thank you. There we go, let me in. Busy. So there might be times to take them, and possibly the things that could be slow release would be interesting as well. So I mean, last night I took some magnesium, but I also took some creatine. So even though a lot of people might focus on the muscles, but there's a lot of muscular and repair work that undergoes when you're resting or trying to sleep anyway. So it's probably make the most of the growth hormones, especially if you've got sort of shattered sleep. I'd say probably it's a bit broken, and getting that quality of a rest. But I did take a higher dosage. I just wanted to kick it off really and see how it is, and I won't go too crazy. It's kind of just moderate as I see fit or need, really. I think this is where it comes down to an individual choice based on your research and all these sorts of stuff. Often people say go talk to a doctor, but doctors deal with medicine, so there might be some areas that are not so a fay maybe with the information they're giving or something. So it could be nutritionist, could be all sorts of things you could dip into. But I think initially, the best person that's going to understand you is you. So, from that sort of standpoint. And creatine's all, oh, it's nice, you decide to turn suddenly. Creatine is also something naturally in the body, so it's not something artificial, not something that causes a reaction to something else. I will be looking at some other stuff I had before, just as my research. Like, I think there was some minerals like boron and stuff like that, but that's something completely different. And yeah, I just want to see what the benefits are. I do feel more alert, considering I sort of woke up 3 times in the night. I don't think I feel so sort of like groggy. That's what it probably is. But I think mainly it improves hydration to your cells, and so with creatine, now this is the other thing. So your body stores water, and it stores it in fats. So if you've got a bit of extra weight you're carrying around, and you're kind of muscular as well, bulky. Now, if you take something that wants more fluid in the muscle and other parts of the body, I mean, in theory, your body should be drawing from your water reserves in your fats if it finds itself slightly dehydrated once it starts breaking into that. So it's kind of like, so I might, well, I do a little bit of fasting, but I might include that just to see if I can use that. Just it could be a level of weight loss. I mean, this is not saying it's an absolute proof, or or saying you don't need advice or whatever you need to do. But it could be interesting. I do feel different physically. I wouldn't necessarily. You might put weight on initially because it's anything that helps you retain fluid in certain tissues. Because it's not just like getting your body to retain water full stop. It's taking it to a certain point, especially if people have got issues with fluid retention and things like that. Or it could be just the body itself is a bit sort of run down, so it's so you feel like a couch potato basically, to some degree. And I did feel like, oh God, what's happening? I'm losing strength. And I had an operation a while back on the knee, so I had gout. So there is fluid retention. But the thing is with gout, it's also crystallized calcium. So if I can repurpose that calcium as well, it's an imbalance. That's what that demonstrates to me. I'm thinking, oh yeah, it's probably an imbalance. But then as I also mentioned, maybe I've got issues processing certain foods, which seems to be true. Things like breads and dairies. I mean, when I was a kid, I could have cream on things. Now that I have cream, it tastes great, but it won't it can be out of me pretty quick. It's just an intolerance. It's strange. It's like, well, why is it so extreme? It's like I don't hardly have cream, and suddenly I have cream like maybe 10 years later or something. Put some cream directly onto a load of fruit, and it's like, oh God. So, and bread's a bit sort of a hit and miss. I mean, some breads are okay. Some of them got added certain chemicals. I just don't know. It's just so random because it's like being a tolerance thing. It doesn't have to follow a sort of set pattern. So that's just life, really. Just do research on different things, and I guess that is with health, because you're constantly going to be doing research, whether you are engaging with your medical practices, but you're also probably doing your research, and usually Google and YouTube are pretty good for finding out like things around the conditions and stuff like that. So that's one area. I'm going to do, like I say, look at the improving health, minerals, maybe rare minerals. Maybe I should have a look also things like mapping my insulin. I know there's things where people have they have like these little devices they stick on their arms to measure their glucose. But it'd be interesting just to measure like dietary, like blood sugar levels and patterns like that. And it's kind of what's maintaining a healthy level. And then when you don't need that type, maybe you need a different type of energy, a slower burning. But I think maybe little and often, my body, see, the thing is, you try to hack your body and then it hacks you. That's what happens. It's very, very intelligent that way. So, for example, is if I go fasting, my body slows my metabolism down. So I become more tired, less energy, I'm regenerating less. And I'm not doing myself any favours, not as I was going to hibernate. And so my body loses less fats, it's retaining it. So, well, how do we hold on to this tissue? And so, well, if we just slow everything down, we can do that. And now it's kind of a mechanism built in. The body can just slow itself down, which isn't too bad. You know, it's even like adapting to cold water. I haven't done any sort of cold. I haven't had a cold bath for a while, some stuff. So I might do a bit of that, which is strange. You think, well, why do you want to do it around the winter time? Because then you'll acclimatise yourself to the outside. If you have cold water that's colder than outside it seems a breeze, basically. Yeah, literally, it might be quite breezy. Yeah, it's a lot easier to manage because your body is shocked, has an environment where it can readapt to, but then it's shock aware, basically. It's now aware about protecting itself. There's some spiritual stuff I'm looking into as well. So I think there's a bloke called Richard Talbot. He did some stuff, and there's somebody else that I come across recently, but he died in like 1978, and he had a lot of spiritual stuff. Like a physicist, is like saying, well, above your dimension, the size of you is bigger, and I kind of was aware of that from the dreams. I'm a bigger object floating above my avatar in my dream. So I'm definitely aware, because it's just a strange perspective. I mean, I've got no reason to be floating above myself. Well, I might not be able to do it. Ping myself. But he was... Okay. He was... So he showed his demonstration, saying like degrees of separation between these people. And as you go further up the chain, you're going to be more connected to things around you. So in essence, it's like the eye, everything's focused in. Maybe there's a lower dimension than us, and then what do I become there? I mean, we've got the DNA and so on. It's quite a complicated thing to map out. In order to exist in this dimension, it has to have certain properties. It must follow certain laws and rules. But some of these can be bent because it's built in other dimensions that don't have the same rules. Like, I don't know, an example would be different creatures. Ones that can swim underwater and ones that can fly. They have different limitations than the ones that walk on the ground. I mean, they can pretty much go where they like up to a certain point, depending on what they're designed for. So, but it's mapping out the consciousness, and there's kind of a deeper awareness I have as well. Is that there's something, whether it's kind of like a download or some higher knowledge or something to focus on, is that we're incarnated into more than one form at one time, and our consciousness is sort of mapped out between different identities. So it's like an octopus, really, in that you have different tendrils, or maybe like a spider plant. You've ever seen a spider plant? It has a thing that branches off, and then it's got another plant growing off it. And in essence, that's what's happened to me. So I've got other versions of myself that exist. Maybe they exist in a different holographic universe, because I think that's probably quite possible that we're in some sort of simulation of some sort, some understanding around that. I get into this bit, and is it more than one simulation going on at the same time? It could be in more than one time as well, because the thing is with consciousness, it doesn't have to travel. It doesn't have to be bound by time. I'd have to think maybe like memories, how they. If memories were something else, they weren't just sort of your mind's way of recording information. But this is how it works with the whole universe. That a simulation based with consciousness. So if I wanted to sort of time travel, the version of it in the past would be whatever it could construct from my consciousness. So the simulation would never be the same anyway, but it would be similar. And the problem is, because it would be based on what I know and my understandings, etc., it would still form in a certain way, and I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Like a dream, I've just created a dream that I can move around in, and I believe, I don't know, I'm back in World War II or something like that. And then what would I be in that? And then you could, so it's different layers to question. But then people say, well, it's imagination stuff. Well, that wasn't a very smart move, lads. The bus started moving. Sandwiched them to me. So the thing is not fully understanding the full properties of the universe we live in, understanding the entirety of why we exist, and is there any higher functions to it? It's just a case of understanding what the game is, if such a game exists. I mean, it's kind of just getting that openness about it, or even it's just turning around and saying, well, what we know so far may be wrong. So can we just revisit the facts and go through the whole process again? And that's you squashed. Well, see, when you're on a motorbike, you have to position yourself more in the middle of the road. If you act like you're driving a bicycle and you're next to the curb, then you're gonna be treated like that. I guess that's what happens. So yeah, I mean, I can revisit memories and change the outcome of them, but then by doing that, I'm branching off into a different simulation of myself, because my internal world will mould and shape my external world. It will realign it in some way, but that's not a bad thing. You just need to create what's considered the most favourable outcome. It doesn't have to be the best. It just be what works the most successful for the individual. So it could be that it's not perfect, or there's some challenges in there, or something about it, something to gain some values from. Because nobody wants like a candy cotton simulation, like taking a whole day from this reality. Everything's perfect, and it's all so easy. So I need to sort of explore, and another part of the exploring process would be, can I commune with my other selves? Because if we're connected in a kind of an internet of consciousness that's guarded in some way, but there might be things that I can't necessarily distort because there's rules or things in this kind of server. Because I always question, like, for some beings, their purpose. I mean, it's almost like they've been added to the food chain, and they think, well, that's not exactly the nicest outcome for this particular entity. That it serves nature, but it can't serve itself. I don't know what you're doing, mate. I don't know what you're doing. It's always confusing, man. I'm just going to reverse. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to reverse. So it's yeah, like I say, explore and my other versions have very different bodies as well, and that sculpts the consciousness. Like as I become more spiritual, I've also become more intellectual because there's, I guess I'm guided by deeper, and there's less resistance. So if you question everything you do, like I say, driving a car, if I question everything I do, I'm not going to have a very smooth journey. I tell you what, I do find traffic at night. Actually, we've got cars slow. I think it's because some people are just waking up. They just move really slow, or they're just doing odd things. Oh my! Ooh, let's go! And I'll be with just one of them people there. Some bus coming down. Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's things that don't, anomalies that fit into this world. People like, they've had an injury or something, and they can speak another language, or they have, people have got memories of different places and stuff. It's not to say that they're not fabrications or constructions that are considered a fantasy because a person wants to experience something different, so they've created something that's not actually, doesn't have any real foundations to it. But the other side of it, yeah, what happens if there was more to it? I always think it's a bit suspicious. I think a lot of people do anyway. If you've got people that have come out with new spiritual ideas and stuff to do with quantum physics and things like that, and they just disappear, or they get put away, or get killed off or something. It just seems a bit strange. But I just hope we pull away from that kind of world, because it's not. I think people that are in elite positions want this this particular world and us to function in a particular way. It's about control and maintaining control. You don't want people to suddenly think, I don't need to do this anymore, or can I explore this part of myself, or what rights do you have over me? They don't want that something disrupts it. They don't want something that debases their power. But by limiting themselves, it's not that they lack imagination, probably to a degree, because they're just creating their own. It's their simulation. They're just keeping it in a certain way, like nature's one simulation. We've got this human world we've constructed on top of it. And maybe cars and stuff will always be a part of this. Oh, fucking hell. I think that's when it's kind of like auto manners, where people go along, they just sort of like stick their nose out. Think, we've got to stop, we've got to let us out. Because they're maybe impatient like I am. So yeah, I'll see what there is, see what I can find out. I should probably have a little notebook, like meditation notebook. And so I'm looking into myself and trying to see into other entities. So basically, with my mind, I'm going to be like looking for myself, looking for my consciousness. Who am I? Where am I? That kind of thing. Almost like remote viewing to get some sort of image of myself to work with. And I'm just trying to act as that. And who knows? Maybe that can help my other versions of me in some way. also thinking some other stuff. I think things like deja vu. I did come across something, and epilepsy and autism. So they call it some connection. But then again, maybe it's just a brain working differently. And there's something else I was thinking about is with body types, your consciousness might be compatible with them, but there may be some limitations how much consciousness you can put into them. And for the type of being, if it's been another being somewhere else, what might be going on is that it ends up causing a neurodivergency, because it's spiritually, its essence is different. And that could create certain conditions. But this is all speculation. So, and spiritual sciences are a bit out there, a bit on the fringe. But the experience is all about having the experience. It doesn't have to be 100%. But if I gain something from it, I think, well, I'm going in the right direction. It could give me all sorts of advantages. And also when you face your own mortality, that you feel, well, there's a bigger pie. I'm just a little piece in this puzzle. And also, I don't really want to swallow religion. I mean, I don't mind studying it, but some people just said it's so ingrained. You know, they could say their vision of how they see things, and as soon as you say something different to it, they just say no. You know, they just go right. And there's also some other things where people feel that they're talking to God in their head, but they're not